Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Because Christmas is just around the corner, Maddie and I wanted to share some audiobook recommendations with you. At least for me, I listen to lots of audiobooks during Christmas time when I'm working on projects, so we thought it would be a good idea to share some that we really like. I think we have some that are more that are just good voices, and then others that are just really good series to listen to because there's either lots of books or they just really grip you. So we've got different reasons for the books, and Maddie will start with our first one.
The first one is The Chronicles of Chrestomanci by Diana Wynne Jones. This is definitely a book for a particular kind of person, but I really enjoyed this series. In the multiple parallel universes of the 12 related worlds, only an enchanter with 9 lives is powerful enough to control the rampant misuse of magic and to hold the title of Chrestomanci. The Chants are a family strong in magic, but neither Christopher nor Kat can work even the simplest of spells. So how could they hope to thwart the schemes of an avaricious enchanter? There are about 6 or 8 books in this series, and they're all very similar, but they're all different people. So there's only really one main character who goes throughout each book, but they're all about magicians in other worlds, and they're just very magical and fun to listen to, and there's always something crazy and wacky going on in them, and I really enjoyed this series.
The next recommendation we have are Navigating Early and Moon Over Manifest, both by Clare Vanderpool. I've talked about this author quite a bit, and she became a kind of rediscovered favorite middle grade author for me in my solo vlog. I actually listened to both of these books. I listened to this one first quite a few years ago during Christmas time, like back when we listened to books on CDs. I listened to this, and I just remember really enjoying the story, even though I didn't particularly love the guy who read it. So this is about, it's been a long time. When Jack Baker's father sends him from his home in Kansas to attend a boys' boarding school in Maine, Jack doesn't know what to expect. Certainly not Early Autumn, the strangest of boys. Early keeps to himself, reads the number pi as a story, and refuses to accept truths others take for granted. Jack, feeling lonely and out of place, connects with Early, and the two become friends. So it's kind of like they go on this journey, and you're also reading about this other storyline. And just one thing I love about audiobooks is how much, I guess, the characters come to life with the voices, and that really was the case for both of these books. This one is a very different story, but they're both just very heartwarming and just deal with topics that I think are just very beneficial to anyone. I would highly recommend both of these audiobooks and just the books on their own as well.
The next audiobook recommendation is a series called The Shadow Children by Margaret Peterson Haddix. And this is another long series, but the books are all pretty short. And it is set in a world where you are only allowed to have 2 children. Is that correct? But the main character of the book is a 3rd child, and he is hidden away in their house. He's never allowed to go outside or do anything. He just has to hide away in his house. But then these new neighbors move into his neighborhood, and he's sure he sees a 3rd child hiding in the house, so he is determined to find out who they are. This is a middle grade series, but it's really interesting and captivating and just adventurous. Yeah, it was written during the 90s, so it's kind of got some nice vintage technology, which is kind of funny, but I just really enjoyed it, and I listened to it very quickly.
Next, we have The Light in Hidden Places by Sharon Cameron. I have talked about this book a lot in our videos, but I actually listened to this book on audio, and I feel like that really enhanced my enjoyment of it because the audiobook reader is actually Polish, so she can pronounce all of the names, and I know that I would have kind of struggled with that if I had read it. So yeah, she was just a really good audiobook reader, and she really brought the emotion out in this story, which is just one reason why I loved it so much. So yeah, I have talked about it, but it is set in 1943, and it is about a 17-year-old girl who has to house, I think, 13 Jews in her house, and it is based off of a true story.
The next book is 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. I've read a few books by this author, and when I listened to this book, I just enjoyed it so much more than the other ones. I don't know if it was the book or the audiobook, but this one is about, I think she's a princess. She has 12 brothers. 12 brothers. Her and her brothers are cast out of the castle, and her brothers are turned into cranes, and she is cursed to have a pot stuck on her head, and she can't take it off, and she can't talk. So that is how the story starts, and it kind of sounds really strange, but it's actually not when you read it. It's really interesting, and I really liked the sibling dynamic. It was just really nice to read something about siblings, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. It was really fun, and I haven't read the second one, but I really want to.
The next audiobooks we want to recommend is The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. This is book 3 I have here, and we have talked about this series before, but this was just a series that Maddie and I both listened to kind of at the same time, and it was just a really fun audiobook to listen to, even though I don't think... either of us...
No!
Even though I don't think either of us really loved the audiobook reader's voice, but it's one of those books, I don't know, it kind of feels like you're watching a show, like you're binging a show or something like that, and it was just a very memorable time, I feel like, and there's lots of characters, lots of stuff happening, and you just get really invested in it, even if you don't want to. So each book is a retelling of a fairy tale, so we have Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and Snow White, and they are all in a dystopian
kind of
sci-fi world.
And then the next one is The Secret Adversary by Agatha Christie. I had so much fun listening to this audiobook. It's set in the 1920s, and it's the first book in the Tommy and Tuppence series, and it was just so much fun. It was so enjoyable. Yeah, I loved the 20s vocabulary. It was just such an interesting mystery and such a fun book to listen to.
I also forgot to say, books 1 and 2 of the Lunar Chronicles are definitely not as good as books 3 and 4, so if you don't like those as much, I would still plow through because they get a lot better as you go along. Next we have the Dauntless Path series by Intisar Khanani. We have talked about this so many times, but I did listen to books 2 and 3 on audio, and I really enjoyed that. I feel like I didn't love the voice of the narrator again too much, but she did bring a lot of character to it, and she just really made it come to life, and you could, I don't know, just the way that she voiced the characters, like, I don't know, you just could tell that there was more meaning behind it and more than just what met the eye. And if you haven't heard us talk about this, which would be, I don't know, you must be new here, it was a wrap-up, I think. But the first book is about Princess Alira, who gets her identity stolen by her maid, and she has to live her life as a goose girl.
Shush! People stop talking for 5 minutes. So those were all of our audiobook recommendations. We'd love to hear if you've read these or listened to these and what you thought about them. And also, if you have any audiobook recommendations, we'd love to hear about them as well. We want to thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.